hiatus is over, and it's time for Extra Bases with Bristol and Booth. Jason Bristol, Jeremy Booth. Jeremy just back now from New Balance Future Stars Series International Weekend.
Feels like I saw Houston like 4 months ago. You know, I feel like I was what's the guy's name? Paul Wall, and got off the plane. Houston, what it do, baby? So I felt when I got here.
All right, sum up the weekend in 2 words in 30 seconds, and then we'll get back to it.
2 words in 30 seconds?
And we are going to have you go right now.
Phenomenal experience.
You got more time?
Oh, I got more time. I just said 2 words. Okay.
No. Yeah, I said then in 30 seconds.
In 30 seconds. It was an experience in one of baseball's cathedrals that I'll never forget. It was one of the best experiences of my life in any form of baseball. Not just the talent on the field, but watching 11 countries come together. You needed 4 languages to communicate with these guys. And, it was funny. It was punctuated. A long weekend of baseball was punctuated with a walk-off hit by Michael Brooks where the Red Sox played Dirty Water, which is their winning song. So it was pretty good.
Stop.
All right.
Good. You got it in. I gave you a couple of extra seconds, but that was a... We're going to get back to the New Balance Future Stars Series International Week for all you prospect junkies. Jeremy, we'll do a deep dive, and you can kind of give us the highlights and which players really stood out and how many Major League Scouts were there.
Okay.
Here's a hint. All of them, right? Every single team was represented.
Yeah, every team was there, and it was. There were a lot more than I guess I thought. Maybe that's the Fenway effect, but the guys that were there were VPs of scouting and special assistant GMs, international directors, and scouting directors. It was national guys. It was a decision making group, to be sure.
That's a good group to have.
That's a good group to have. Guys, a lot of guys made. You know what? A lot of guys made some money.
Really?
They made some money. Yeah,
big time bucks?
They made some money. Yeah, we'll talk about that when you're ready for it, though.
So, obviously, we are now near the end of a season which has been as scripted in some ways.
Some ways.
I know that you were pretty high on the Red Sox, although you picked the Rays to win the East. That didn't happen.
No, Yankees winning the East, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And the Twins and Cleveland are in the mix.
Yeah, Twins won the Central, did they not?
And we have, the Astros and the A's.
I got nothing. No, nothing there. David and Billy, David just amazes me every year. I feel like we're 14 years old on the baseball field again in West Los Angeles. And David, you can't do it. Watch me. That's
really was that like David?
That's kind of how he played. He was again, for those of you that don't remember, David Forst and I are the same age and from the same general area in Southern California, West Side Los Angeles, and knew each other in high school. And he went to Brentwood High, and played short, and then went to Harvard, I believe, and played a year of independent baseball, and then went in the front office. Right? I might play with the Red Sox actually for a second. Anyway, David is a very experienced guy. Very smart guy, but he was always that type of guy that was overlooked and people didn't think he could do anything. And next thing you know, he's playing college baseball. David, that's as far as you're going to go is college baseball. Next thing you know, I'm a pro. Hey, David, you're working for the A's and that's great. Next thing you know, I'm a GM. Yeah, David, your teams aren't very good. Watch me. That's David. So, I got to give him credit, and I saw him at the winter meetings last year and, shook his hand, say, hey, man, I owe you one. And he said, yep. So good for him.
With the Astros happening on Thursday, the 26th, before we tape this, Carlos Correa will be shut down the remainder of the season, according to the reporters in in California, covering the team as they play the Angels.
Okay.
I think this will now go back to what we had been saying a long time ago in terms of the playoff roster and its composition. It's not a big deal that he's being shut down for the rest of the season because it's only 4 games when you look at the number of games. But obviously, bigger picture, the back is a funny mechanism in the human body. And while I don't think the Astros are super, super, super concerned, there has to be some concern there anytime it's a guy with his profile and back issues and what he adds to that lineup come playoff time.
So now when they're saying out for the rest of the year, they mean the regular season?
Yeah.
Okay. He didn't find his swing last year after this injury, similar injury, right? Until about game 3 at Boston. in the postseason. We were in Fenway last year. Won't happen this year. We were in Fenway last year, and he took a BP, and we talked about it after the game, right? We talked actually on air, I think. And it just takes a little time to find your rhythm. And a guy like him, the way his swing works, anybody's swing really, but especially him, the way his swing works, he's got to be feeling okay back there, right? And so even if he's feeling all right, he's gonna test it. It's now a recurring injury. It's not as cut and dry for me as him missing 4 or 5 days. Now, he's a world-class athlete, one of the best players in baseball. He's one of those guys. So, hopefully it'll work. But it's not as cut and dry as, hey, my back is hurt, now I'm back.
And he'd been playing really well. He had a 2-homer game here at Minute Maid, and the bat seemed to be playing for him. Like, it seemed like he was in – he was Carlos Correa.
Yeah, back's a tough one. It's a funny one. You never know what it's going to do and how it feels in any given day. So, for the Astros, luckily they've got one of the best lineups, ever, maybe. You know what I mean? So it's not something where you're going to feel it with Carlos Correa regardless, but you're not going to feel it like, let's say, you would if, you were the Diamondbacks.
Having said that now, I have to believe that Abraham Toro, if you're the Astros manager or the Astros front office, Abraham Toro has to be on this roster now, right?
He was the guy.
Has to be. We said that even before all this happened.
We did. We talked about it when he came up. You actually brought it up. It's a no-brainer for me, and it was a no-brainer before. So what you do now is you just create bats. It's not in the outfield. Now you got to carry Marisnik, you got to carry Reddick, and I know some people are going to be screaming for Tucker. Take it easy. This is the guy that you need to help win a World Series, because it is about winning a World Series, right? In theory, that's what it's about, right? Allegedly. Mm-hmm. Okay.
No, it is.
Are you sure?
There's no alleged.
You, yes. Me, yes. But some people, no. It's got to be Toro, because Toro helps in a million different ways that they need. Plus, he's been here a little longer, right? Guy's got ice in his veins. Doesn't seem to be bothered by anything, right? I'm feeling pretty good about Abraham Toro making that roster anyway. And I'll tell you something else that everybody continues to overlook. And we talked about this on Sports Extra. It was an awards guest that we had, 4 awards, postseason 3, right? Mm-hmm. Cy Young. AJ Hinch has become the quintessential manager of our era. And it's nothing against Joe Madden. It's nothing against some of these other guys who've been really good. There's some really good managers in baseball,
Bruce Bochy, those kind of guys.
But AJ is he's just doing a great job with his personnel. He's doing a great job understanding his people, and part of that's because, like the other guys, he's a baseball lifer. AJ's baseball lifer. He's understood every possible direction, from the front office to the field to being a player to being a high draft pick to playing, on a USA Baseball. He's been everywhere.
To being a minor league journeyman.
That's right. He's done it all, and so that's geared him to this, to understand the game and see it different ways, and more importantly, understand personalities, right? Which, do not kid yourself, is why Kyle Tucker, no matter what they tell you, that's why you got me, because I'll tell you what they won't, did not come up until the end for that reason. If they thought he was a better fit here earlier, he'd have been here earlier. It was because Toro fit in a bunch of different ways that they could use, and the personality fit with the clubhouse. And so he will be on the postseason roster.
From ESPN, Correa saw a doctor in Los Angeles on Thursday. Nothing serious was found with his back, manager A.J. Hinch said before Thursday night's series opener against the Angels in Los Angeles. The Astros had already said that Correa would not play Thursday because of a late arrival to L.A., but now they say they will keep him out of the final 3 games as well.
That's it's good news. There's nothing seriously wrong. They're going to need him in the postseason. He's Carlos Correa. That's the bottom line. That's a big piece to lose for anybody. I'm glad for him. It's rest and recovery. That's good.
Daniel Gotera, our colleague here at KHOU 11, offered up a very interesting scenario the other night on Twitter after Gerrit Cole sets an Astros team record for strikeouts, and it was 3 or 4 simple words. It was Cole or Springer.
Yeah.
If you have to pay, which one are you keeping?
Yeah.
And I know which one I'd keep.
Yeah.
Jeremy, which one would you keep? And I know this is probably hard for you to answer, but
it's very hard
for some other reasons, but go ahead.
But the GIF I put on there was more for, comic relief.
Okay.
It wasn't necessarily my choice. you re-sign Gerrit Cole, and was it last year when he came here? Last year?
Well,
yeah,
it was,
18.
Yeah,
before 18.
This is his second season.
And we talked about the way he would flourish here in Houston, and it wasn't because of the analytics, it was because of Justin Verlander. That was what we talked about, learning how to be an ace, right? If you go back to Cole's, and I'm backing into this a little bit, if you go back to Cole's scouting reports in college, and even the minor leagues, has the makings of a young Justin Verlander. And we talked about it a year ago. We said, if I'm him, I'm watching everything that Verlander does. It's the same kit. It's the same toolkit, right? He's entering his prime in a way that Verlander has just done right ahead of him. And if I'm the Astros, as much as I love George Springer, first of all, I signed both of them. I've been saying that forever. I pay them all.
It's not your money, so might as well.
Pay them all. But if you pick one, you got to pick Cole. And it's just because he is so hard to come by. He's that rare number one that's pitching in the 2-hole here. You know what I mean? So, Gerrit Cole.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat because you love George, everything he brings to the game, everything, the passion, the power, the speed, the defense. I mean, he is one of the most important players, if not the most important player on this team.
Pretty good.
However, I once read somewhere, draft bats buy arms.
Yeah.
And there are a lot of guys who can hit 30 home runs right now in the major leagues.
Yeah.
There aren't a lot of guys who can strike out 300 and walk under 50.
There's a lot of guys who can hit 30 home runs in AAA now, 2,100 extra home runs. Anyway, bottom line is you're right, Jason. He's that type of guy that he's going to go make his money somewhere.
And he's going to end up being quite possibly the highest paid pitcher of all time.
Cole.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Both those guys from the 2011 draft, Cole went 1. Hultzen went 2. I've relived this draft a million times. Hultzen went 2. Trevor Bauer went 3. Mm-hmm. Dylan Bundy went 4. Bubba, who went 5?
Was it Starling?
No, Starling went to Kansas City and Rendon. Yeah, Starling went 5 to Kansas City. Rendon went 6. 7 was Archie Bradley.
Why do you play this?
Because this is how good the draft was.
Okay.
Sonny Gray was in that draft. Matt Barnes was in that draft. Jackie Bradley Jr. was in that draft.
Jose Fernandez was
in that draft. Brandon Nimmo was in that draft.
Starling was 5, Rendon 6, Bradley 7, Lindor 8, Baez 9, Spangenberg went 10, Springer 11,
Youngman 12.
Yep, because that was your guy.
That was my pick. Yep.
If Springer was still available, would you guys have drafted him?
You want the answer I'm supposed to give you?
CJ, I would love.
We were taking college pitching. Let's leave it at that.
Yeah.
Period. That's what it was.
And that's not good, though, right? When you kind of pigeonhole yourself, or no?
Look.
Then again, Springer.
In my view, you take the best player available.
Yeah.
We needed arms in the system. We had a good team in the big leagues. We needed some quick to the big league type movers. And Youngman should have fit that bill with everything he did, and he didn't, but he should have. And for the direction of the organization, he was the pick we were going to make. Springer's turn. Just look at the guys who went ahead of him.
I mean, Rendon. Come on.
I mean, Rendon.
Good for Bubba Starling though to get to the big leagues.
Yeah, that was a debate in the draft.
No, it was a debate.
Yeah, Doug Melvin put a stop to that. It was me and somebody else, and I'd seen them both, and this other guy had seen them both.
I mean, Bubba, world-class athlete, but raw as
Anthony Rendon's Vinny Castilla. Now he's Anthony Rendon. At the time, he was Vinny Castilla.
That's a good comp.
And it was. I'm sitting there, and I'm the biggest. So I'm the biggest high ceiling high school. Let's go! Like you got to have some kind of feel to hit, some kind of idea. Bubba Starling was 2019. He got there this year.
Yeah,
8 years. That's a long time.
But he grinded. I give him that,
great.
right? He grinded.
Yeah, good for him. It's a long time. And when you look at where we were, Rendon, the only reason he didn't go in that 2 spot to Seattle,
Scott Boras,
ankle issues.
Ankle issues.
Yeah, he had ankle
Scott
issues.
Boras also had something to do with it. No,
it was injuries. Anthony Rendon had rolled his ankle 3 times in a year, and people were not sure if he was going to be healthy. The medical didn't come back great at the end. Otherwise, the Seattle Mariners take him at 2. That got flagged. So Washington didn't care. They never do, and they took him. They don't care at all. They'll take guys on TJ. They don't care. They're taking the player.
They've done that.
Taking the guy, yeah. So they took Rendon, and the rest is history. But that's how good that draft was, and Cole went 1.
Yeah, at least here it says at least in part due to injury concerns.
Rendon? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. But anyway, the debate in the draft room was one guy wanted Bubba Starling because of the ceiling, and I said I want Anthony Rendon because he's going to hit for a long time and hit a lot. And it kind of went back and forth, and so Doug got tired of listening to it, just pleading our case. And he said, hey, I'm not going to say who the other guy was. He said, hey, who do you got? And he goes, Bubba Starling. He goes, Jeremy, who do you got? I said, Anthony Rendon. He goes, okay, let's move on. And he wrote it down. I turned around and looked like this. I looked at him, and he wrote it down. I was like, all right, I think I won that one. Let's go.
So here it says it talks about he had a little bit of a shoulder injury. So
Who, Rendon?
Yeah.
He had that too, but it was an ankle.
Oops. I guess we just broke some news.
Yeah, it was an ankle.
But hey, look, it all. He was in Harrisburg. Came through Harrisburg when I was working in Pennsylvania, and man, I mean, he's one of those guys you just knew.
Yeah,
I mean,
it was easy.
You just knew the ball sounded differently off the bat. You just knew.
Funny story with him, and he was one of the. So when I got to Texas in 2009, he was a freshman at Rice, right? So I come down to scout. I'd been with the Twins in a different area in 2008, and the guy that was here had gone to New England to scout. Good scout, Brian Sankey. And I walk into Rice because it's Rice. You're going to see Rice. That's what it is. And you're going to see him in the fall. And I used to team sheet everybody. So every player they had 3 years back, I had something on them. My follow list was done for 3 years. High school, college, I did every player I saw that was a prospect. And if the guy wasn't a prospect, I had something on him. So my lists literally were deep, hundreds of players deep, just to make sure I'd follow back on them. So I'd go see went and saw Rice, and I knew nothing of Anthony Rendon. He'd been drafted the year before by the Braves, 22nd, 27th.
One of those high round
something
or
like
low
that.
round.
Something like that. And they didn't like him. I mean, the guy that they weren't going to sign him. So I walk in. There's always a guy every year. You don't know this then, but you know after scouting for a little while that the industry goes, whoops. Oops. So I walk into Rice, and I'm watching BP, and I call Ray Montgomery, who's my boss. And I said, hey, Ray, I know I just got here and all, but who's this? And he goes, what do you got? I was like, Ray, what do you got? I said, I got Anthony Rendon for Rice. And he goes, oh, yeah? Go on.
I got this Anthony Rendon.
Yeah, I started breaking it down, and he's kind of quiet, and he goes, yeah, the Braves took him last year. Didn't work. I don't know why. You're telling me what now? And so I go back over it again, and he's like, he was still living in Houston at the time. And he was like, hey, we'll go down there and check this out. This I got to see for myself. No problem. A couple weeks go by, Ray goes to Rice with me, and he watches this dude, and he looks at me, and he goes, shoo!
I mean, he hit 20 homers as a freshman.
It was an absolute joke.
Hit 26 homers as a sophomore, and then he had that tough junior season where he played in 63 games and he hit 6 homers.
It was an absolute joke. College baseball then was so fun to watch. I'm not saying it's not fun now, but at that time it was so fun to watch in this particular area. And Rendon was just a dude. And I was like, this guy gets to, 3 years later, this guy gets to 12. I mean, we're standing on top of the table and turning it over and jumping up and down and rioting on our own draft room, right? And there's no shot. He got to the Nationals, and that was it. But that was it for him, man. Never looked back. He was one of the best hitters I ever saw, period.
Well, we've that wasn't on the lineup today, was it?
Hey, there's a scouting report, though.
Yeah, there you go. There's a scouting report. This was interesting, and I don't know if you saw this on Twitter or not. And I don't even know how to bring this up other than just throw it out there. So the Astros broadcast during the Greinke no-hitter would not say it's a no-hitter. Apparently because they're afraid they're going to jinx the no-hitter.
Yeah.
Whereas some of the Astros beat reporters were saying, hey, Zach Greinke has allowed no-hits through 7 or has a no-hitter through 8. And some of the fans were upset at the writers, as if what they tweet has any bearing on what happens between the lines. Now, I can understand if you're in the dugout, guys don't want to mention a no-hitter. But where do you fall on this? Should the broadcasters, who I assume are paid by the team, should they be announcing that Zach Greinke has no hits through 7 or no hits through 8?
You ready for me?
I'm ready for you.
Thou shalt respect the baseball gods.
Oh, really?
And I'm going to tell you that that is real.
Oh,
and I have seen it happen too many times. I saw it this past weekend in Boston. Do not upset them. Do not upset them.
Are you? I love the baseball gods.
Don't do it.
But you think that?
Don't say it.
So, but a writer, a journalist who is there covering.
How about say this?
Fine.
Into 6, no runs, no hits. Into 7, no runs, no hits.
So you think it's okay to just say no hits?
You got to call the game.
Yeah.
You got to call the game. I'm saying this. Better to be safe than sorry is what I'm saying. God. I mean, look, there's a reality that it has no bearing. Yeah, I mean, it's kind of funny to think that someone would say no hitter and then jinx, the fix is on, right? I mean, but better to be safe than sorry. If I'm Zach Greinke, I'm looking at whoever that is and going, that's on you, and that's on you.
Oh, my God.
That's on you. So
they're not in the dugout.
Right, so I got a story for you.
Okay.
Another story. So I'm in college this time. Okay, I'm at Cypress College. And
California.
Cypress, California. It's a junior college, state of California junior college championships. I forget who we're playing.
Really good baseball.
So
I mean,
I think we're only playing Fresno.
Really good baseball.
And so Ted Lilly and guys are on the other team.
Really?
Yeah. Ted's good. Ted's a good dude. But anyway, Keith Ginter, remember him?
Yeah.
So Gint's playing second base.
Astros.
Right. Keith Ginter's playing second.
Infielder.
I'm playing first base.
So you were teammates with Keith Ginter?
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah. Well, actually, one year it was Keith Ginter, Augie Ojeda. This is in junior college. I was like, 15 guys off that team went and played. Anyway, bottom line, back to the story. So Ginter's playing second base. I'm playing first base. There's a guy on the mound whose name I'm not going to mention, who nobody liked. Like, I mean, nobody. You couldn't find a guy in 4 states that thought this guy was a good dude. Okay, he was a good pitcher. Up to 93 when nobody was throwing hard, kind of a grunt type of physical kid, had a feel for a slider. Just got out, right? What? Who's that? Can't see it. Oh, is that Gint?
No, but is that the pitcher?
Yeah, let me see that. How'd
anyway,
you find that?
I just look. Anyways,
wait,
go.
No,
tell.
I gotta see that. That's amazing.
Go with the.
You sure did. How did you find that? That's crazy.
All right, so start the story
this
over.
This is what we do. It's how it's been a couple of weeks. This is beautiful. So
start the story over, please, because I interrupted.
We start over.
Yeah.
Okay. So this picture that Jason just found on the computer, no name mentioned, nothing, not even a syllable. This kid was he wouldn't play professionally. Nobody liked this guy on the West Coast. I'm not kidding. You could not find anybody who thought this guy was a good dude. And so Gint's playing second, and I'm playing first. And it's the state championships. It's the semifinals. And I think we're playing Fresno. Anyway, this guy has no hits through 8 and 2/3, and nobody said a word. We're just playing baseball. Nobody said a word about it. So Gint looks at me at first. Guy gets 2 outs. Ball goes back to him. Gint's kind of kicking the dirt to second base, and then he looks over at me. He goes, JB. Peek over at him like, what? I just looked at him, and he goes, watch this. I said, no, don't do it. Don't do it. Goes to the mound, kicks some dirt around, grabs a rosin bag, tosses it down. Everybody in the entire yard on our side knows what he's doing. And he says, hey, how you feeling? And the guy goes, get out of here. I'm fine. And he goes, yeah, I can tell you got fine. Nobody's gotten a hit yet. Next pitch, line drive, base hit, no hitter over. Do not tell me you cannot tempt the baseball gods. I saw it live.
Wow.
I saw it happen, and you know what? Nobody cried for this guy either. Everybody's like, "Oh, it sucks."
So what happens when this guy hears the podcast?
He's gonna know. He's gonna remember and shake his head because that's what happens if you piss off the baseball gods. And this is what it was great. It was great.
No, Ginter.
Oh, Gint's gonna laugh.
But the pitcher. Ginter will laugh, but I don't know if the pitcher's
going to laugh too. I mean, looking back on it, and just the time I said, "What did you do?" And he goes, "What do you think I did? What did you do? What do you think I did?"
Wow, I had no idea that you played with Keith Ginter.
Yeah,
I remember him from when I lived in upstate New York. First year pro ball, he was with the Auburn Double Days.
That's right.
They had a good team.
Taking out of Texas Tech.
Roy Oswald was one of his teammates.
Yeah, he was here when it was.
Johan Santana was one of his teammates.
He was here when the uniforms were pinstripes. Then it was Oakland and Milwaukee and Oakland in that order, and that was it.
He could hit.
He could hit.
He could hit.
He could hit.
All right. Let's see. Biggest threat to these Astros right now.
Themselves.
Ooh.
They should have. So I say this with all respect to the Red Sox because, I was just in Boston, and the reality is, until the season ends for 4 more days, the Red Sox are still the world champions. The minute they don't get to the postseason, it's over. They're not champions anymore. Until the season ends, they're the world champions. And the Astros last year were threats to themselves. Looking at the Red Sox last year, pretty good team. And they've won, 4 World Series in the last 12 years? Something like that. So, but the Astros have a unique formula at the big league level where they've done such a good job with trades and waiver claims that they've supplemented what the drafted players that were left before them, with the exception of Bregman, have done. And Greinke and the people they've got there, as long as they can play their roles through the postseason, they're the favorite. They're the favorite.
Yeah.
If they back away from what they can be, Tampa can take them out. The Yankees can take them out.
I think Oakland could.
Oakland take them out. I mean, Minnesota can take them out. I mean, it's why you play the games.
No team is perfect.
None.
In this tournament. No team is perfect.
Where's your hole for these guys?
To me, it's right now. I'm trying to narrow it down between a number 4 starter or the middle of that bullpen.
I'm saying the middle of the bullpen. Because the way the Astros do it, a lot of those starters, a lot of those mid-range bullpen guys, they piggyback games. And they don't have McCullers this year. Presley's back.
Or Charlie Morton.
And they don't have Peacock, really.
Well, he's back.
Yeah, but he's not what he's been. He's coming back. He's still coming back.
I got you.
So he's not in mid-season form. He's still working his way back.
You.
So he has a chance to be a very important guy for them. Not as important as Greinke for me, but very important guy. So that bullpen's going to have to step up because of the hole in the number 4 start. Wade Miley. Is there anybody I want to remember to see if I got this right because I got to think back.
Yeah.
About 6 months, 8 months.
All right.
Is there anybody who may have said Wade Miley will be fine in a role and he'll pitch well to a certain point, but he's not who you win in October with? Is there anybody? Do you know anybody that might have said that?
You know what?
Somebody.
He had a black sweatshirt on when he said it.
Was it a brand we know and love?
It's a brand we know.
Very know. Yeah. Brand I love.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's not him and Peacock together. That's your tandem with Presley right behind him.
I don't know. Listen, if he may have pitched himself out of the entire roster, Wade Miley.
But if he's there, you got to have some fire behind him.
Now, we're taping this before his start against the Angels. We'll see.
Well, it depends if you want prime rib or chicken.
But think of this. If he goes out there and he's starting a game in the number 4 position, and that screws up basically nearly every game after that if he only lasts an inning, right?
Yeah, I don't know.
That screws up your entire bullpen.
He's a guy that I don't know what they do on the first series. The 5-game series. I don't know what they do there. Oh, actually, it's all 7, isn't it? 7, 7, or is it still 5, 7, and 7? Yeah. I mean, basketball went to 7, 7, and 7. See, Jason, I'm just recovering from International Week. Anyway, 5, 7, and 7. They may not need him the first series around. They're going to need him the second one. They're going to need all hands on deck in the second one. And Presley needs innings, and Osuna is going to get the ball, and Josh James, and those guys are going to get the ball. So, the more you can keep those guys abbreviated, the better it is.
Also taking podcast listener questions. James, former intern here.
Yep.
full disclosure.
Yep.
Who out of Abreu, Urquidy, Tucker, and Toro has the best chance of making the Astros postseason roster? Is Wade Miley in trouble with a bad outing tonight in L.A.? Yes to the second part.
Yep.
I mean, really, he's in really big trouble.
Especially for the first series.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So who out of Abreu, Urquidy, Tucker, and Toro has the best chance of making it? I know who I picked.
We kind of covered that earlier, didn't we?
Well, Toro over Tucker.
Yeah.
Abreu and Urquidy. Abreu has been really good, and I think the Astros could possibly go with Urquidy in that fourth spot. I mean, he pitched a great game against Oakland, and he has pitched really well after being thrown into the fire when he first got up here.
It's going to be a need. It's not going to be a Tucker's not a need. He's a luxury right now. It's going to be a need, especially for the first series. And it doesn't mean these guys aren't going to all stay around, right, and stay fresh and see what happens for after series number one, which is the benefit of being able to reset your roster each time. But Toro, and I'm with you. The next one's going to be on need, whichever one they need the most.
Now, we can talk about New Balance Future Star Series International Weekend. It was week, right?
It's International Week now. It was weekend first. Now it's week. There's a reason why I made that switch. I'll save that for another time. But first year it was going to be weekend, so you had it right.
Okay.
And then I switched it to week.
But it says on the thing, it said weekend.
It says week. You had it right, though. First one was weekend. Here's why it's week. I was forced the first year of doing this to make a change to a midweek series.
Oh.
So we couldn't keep it as weekend as of week.
And
so
that was the
somebody
one
who was blatantly trying to make sure we didn't have this event.
Oh.
I don't mind saying it now.
Okay.
I made it week. I made it work and made it week. So kids all came. It was a good event. That's the one with Grayson Rodriguez and Noah.
Grayson Rodriguez also in Sports Illustrated this week, by the way.
Was he really?
Yeah, it mentioned it was the money issue, so they had a rundown via his father of the expenses it took for Grayson Rodriguez to basically reach the level he's at. And they calculated all the expenses, travel teams, hotels, instruction, baseballs, bins of baseballs, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And it came up with a number of what Grayson Rodriguez's family believes it spent to get him to this point.
Really? Mm-hmm. How much was that?
How much do you think it was? I think it's more fun if I have you perhaps guess.
$100,000.
You are high.
Am I really?
They said, listen, I could round up. $78,000, I think, was the number.
Okay.
So, $100,000.
Yeah, $100,000. Yeah.
But what did he sign for?
$4 million.
Yeah.
It's money well spent for him. So International Week. We had Ben Badler was there from Baseball America. I was talking to him earlier. Article came out today about some of the hitters that were there. Dylan Cruz, Zach Veen, Michael Brooks, Petey Halpin.
Give me comps.
Dylan Cruz.
J.D. Drew.
Yep. Zach Veen. I said Sean Green. I think I'm going to stick with that.
Ooh, that's a good one.
It's a good one. Yeah, he's a dude, man. He hit a ball so far.
Where's he from?
He's from Florida as well. He was insulting people. That's how hard he was hitting
Who's
the
the guy who damaged the wall?
That's Zach Veen.
So he did it. It was in Pawtucket, right?
Yeah, the ball's gone, by the way.
What do you mean the ball?
The umpires missed it. The ball's gone. You could hear it hit the thing and bounce back.
Oh.
They missed it. Its ball got 12 feet off the ground. It was an absolute laser. And the next time, he gets another pitch to hit, and he tattooed this thing almost out of the entire stadium. It was in Pawtucket. I'm sorry, for you Rhode Island people, Pawtucket. It doesn't fly very well. It doesn't carry very well in Pawtucket, and he absolutely destroyed this ball.
So where is he committed to?
He's committed to the first round of the draft. He's committed to about pick 9. So So
which college is he currently committed to, or is he undeclared?
Allegedly, he plans to attend the University of Florida in the fall. Ooh. Allegedly. So, Cruz is going to LSU.
How many first rounders were there?
For me, or what actually plays out? Because a lot changes between now and
That's true because of money demands and things like that.
First round ability?
Okay, so how many guys, in your opinion, have first round ability on both the world team and the national team?
The world team is going to be light because 17 of those guys.
Well, that's true, and they're eligible. I'm sorry. Let me rephrase the question because those guys are obviously, they can be they're the free agent, international free agents. How many guys on the national team have get a first round grade from you?
8. Ooh. 8. I'll tell you who they are.
Best event yet then for you?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Do you want me to name them?
Sure.
Or just say
Yeah.
8? Dylan Cruz, Zach Veen, Nick Griffin, Petey Halpin, Tommy Troy at the back end of that. Michael Brooks is not a first. Well, Tommy Troy and Brooks are second rounders for me. Justin Lang.
You're missing a name.
Hayden Dirk.
You're missing a name.
Who else would I miss?
Abel.
I haven't got there yet.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, and my favorite. I'm sorry, guys. I love Mick's been around for 3 years. He gets a nod, Mick Abel. But Mick's an interesting thing too. Mick, was.
So real quick, Mick Abel is arguably the number one high school pitching prospect in the country, and potentially the number one high school player overall.
Potentially. For me, Mick's been here 3 years.
Right-handed pitcher.
6'5", live body, baby face, barely shaven. I mean, he's going to pitch for a long time. It's what they look like. And so here, this is the story about Mick Abel. So in our event, and this is because we like to stay on the positive side of the FBI. Just saying, okay? We don't pay for the kids to travel. They got to pay for their travel, and they got to pay for the event's free, but they got to pay for their travel and their lodging because they have to have something invested and something to pay for it so that their amateur status is protected. And we are going to do that. We are not going to be the ones who violate that, and it is a violation, okay? There are other groups that do that. We don't. Anyway, so Mick we use at USA Baseball. By the way, a year ago, USA Baseball cut him. Yeah, same look I had. That face right there, I was like, huh? It's obvious. Okay, it's not. That one's not even hard. Like, you watch Mick as a freshman, you're like, you're good. Like, let's just go train. Like, you're fine. Go get the innings and train. It's what they look like, and they cut him. For what, I don't know. Anyway,
okay.
Flash forward to this year. So Mick now makes the team. Now he's the guy. He's the guy. Well, Mick has a very detailed throwing program. The guy he works with in Oregon's named Kevin Gunderson. He's very good. Gundy is very good.
Is he a pitcher at Oregon State?
How do you know this? Yes, he was.
Okay.
Gundy is very, very good. He just is. I've been up there. I've seen the act. I've seen what he does. I've seen the mixed environment. And, the family, first of all, on a scale of 2 to 8, it's a 17. Like, they're just great people. They're great people. And Neil Abel, Mick's dad, has done this the right way. Like, he really has. He's got, he wants the scouts to know the kid. He wants Mick to go through things on his own. Mick to make his own decisions, right? He's there to guide him. He's not hand-holding him. And Mick is the product of that. So here's what Mick does. So Mick is throwing absolute fire at the start of the summer. It's 95, 97. It's breaking ball. It's changeup. It's strikes. It's quality strikes. It's execution. It's heavy. And it's like best right hand. This is the guy. Here we go, right? Well, it goes to the PDP. And something happens with his throwing program. Why you would touch with – so we're development-oriented. What we do is we take what they're doing, we augment. We try to get them to think different, and we augment, we add to it, and we don't take away, but we get them to go back and take what we gave them and work at home. We don't change what they're doing while we have them. We get them to accept it and work through it. And sometimes they don't need to change. You just need to kind of tighten, right? Mm-hmm. Tighten. It's called different set of eyes, and that's development. It's not cookie cutting and saying, hey, we're so-and-so, so we know better. No, it's about how do you make that work, okay? So Mick goes PDP and they change his throwing program. He'll never say it because he's the type of human being he is. I'll say it. They change his throwing. That's what I do. I say what others don't say. So they change his throwing program. All of a sudden, 97 is 91. Why? Because they're not letting the kid be him. They're taking it away. You know what you can do there? Not only do you cause psychological damage, but you can hurt the kid's stock. You can cause injury. You can cause physical injury. You don't do something like that because you have your hands on the kid for 3 weeks. It's a terrible job.
Allegedly.
No, that's a fact.
Okay.
That's a terrible job.
I'm just saying allegedly. I don't
you.
know. I don't know.
I appreciate you.
We
Jason.
don't know for a fact, but go ahead.
Okay. So it's almost a fact. How's that? It's highly likely. Good enough? Fine. Good enough. Okay. This is what he does. He tempers me when I get on.
No, it's not that a temper.
I don't mean that negatively. I mean, you just bring me back in.
I'm just just protecting.
Okay. Whatever it was, the program changed. Goes over to Correa, same thing. Program changes. Kid comes back. He's rightfully so gassed. He's lost some weight. He had a sinus infection, right? Arm wasn't feeling tired. He's not hurt, but it wasn't right. Makes sense? Like it wasn't him. Well, I love the kid. And just like I love any kid, I'm not going to put them out there in a situation where they can't, perform to the best of their ability. His future is so much more important than that 1 or 2 innings he's going to have with us for 3 innings, right? So here's what the kid does. Kid spends his own money, him and his dad. Can't miss any school because they miss a lot with USA Baseball, and that happens. That's part of it. After winning a silver medal, first silver medal they won in 5 years. They've had 5 years, 5 straight goals or 4 straight goals, silver medal. Gets back home. Kid goes to class the next day. He's not taking breaks. He's getting back into school, so he's not being punished for baseball. He's getting caught up. So his dad says, we're coming. We're coming. We're not missing that. We're not missing Fenway. We're not missing Boston. We're not missing this with you. We were there when it started. Kid shows up, gets there Saturday. He's there for all day Sunday, plays a little catch, takes some pictures, not filling up to throwing, not a problem. That's the integrity of Mick Abel. I made a commitment to do something. I'm going to finish that commitment the best I can. He didn't have to do that. He didn't have to get on a plane and drive and fly across the country. We weren't paying for it. It's not like the ticket was bought. He paid for it. At the last minute, they paid for it because they weren't sure because they wanted to see how he felt. That kid's stock broke the ceiling because it tells you about what is in him. And I'm not indicting anybody.
No, you're not. I understand what you're saying. That is what we call high character.
That's high character. And so, you look around and there's other people who don't. There's other people who legitimately were tired, and they're taking the rest of the fall off, and they should. Drew Romo caught a bunch of games, like every single day, and he didn't make the event. And
catcher from the Woodlands,
and he made it. It's last minute. He said, "I'm beat." He's not playing in Jupiter, and he's not doing anything that he's done till the spring. Good for him, not a problem. But then there's other people who don't have that type of character.
In character.
Okay. You want to say integrity?
No, character's good.
Okay. All right. And they tell you something. They tell people things, and they do something else. Anyway, bottom line is the kids at this event weren't there for the gear. They weren't there for the shoes were pretty sweet.
They were pretty sweet.
But they weren't there for that. They weren't there for the headquarter walkthrough. They weren't there for the buses or the hotel. They were there. They were hunting for a game. They were hunting for a game. What's the best games I'm going to get this time around? Because I want to play baseball. This is what I want to do. And furthermore, by being part of Future Star Series, I know the VPs, the people, the scouting directors, the guys that are going to make the decisions, the area scouts, they got to get to know me because they got to put their name on me. But the guys that are going to pay me, they're in the yard. And that's who was in the yard. And the funny thing is I sat these guys down for BP at Pawtucket, and I said, be different. I'm paraphrasing. Be different. Look above you because they're in the lockers. Guy above you has a different name. Guy next to you has different names, different birth date, different height and weight, different name, different skill set. Unless you're the same on all of those things, you're different. So be different. And I said, how many of you guys want to play pro ball? I'll raise their hand. How many of you guys want to go get paid? I'll raise their hand. Okay. I said, so go get paid. Turned around, walked out, and those guys made some money. Petey Halpin, I didn't want to miss an at-bat with that guy. I didn't want to miss an AB. If Petey Halpin was in the box, the place stopped. It stopped. And for Fenway, I didn't know what we were going to get at Fenway. We had a pretty good crowd. Like you looked, it was a pretty good crowd for something like this. And in Boston,
in a big league city,
when the Patriots were playing,
yeah, and
people came. And Petey Halpin, man, they applauded. They enjoyed the game. Braylon Bishop did well. Justin Lang came out throwing 98 miles an hour. This is a kid that didn't make the Texas area code team. He was 87 to 90, and they didn't see they just didn't take him. 98. Hayden Dirt got cut from another event. I'm not going to name it because there's good people involved in both. 97. These events were a month earlier. Just saying. Okay? Nick Griffin, 94. Markevian Tank Hentz, 95 with a curveball. and strikes around the zone on the world team. Jose Azar, a 2-time world team guy from Venezuela, can flat out pick it up, and that's what he did. He played well. Ben Badler, I give Ben some credit because I've seen some writers that aren't very good at evaluators. Ben caught that one. He has that one nailed. He said, yeah, he hit the ball hard, had good at bats. So what? He was 1 for 7, made the plays, good first step, good instincts around the bag. His average runner, he's a little bit better than that, but that's how he played. Ben nailed him. Put him in his thing today. He put out for Baseball America. It was fun. It was a lot of fun. It was one of the best baseball experiences I've ever had at any point.
And I think it's also worth noting when you talk about the character and the integrity, when a team is about to spend $4, $5, $6 million on a first-round draft pick, they will go to great lengths to get as much information as they can about the player, his family, everything in his background.
Everything.
And I think not that there were questions, but there are going to be fewer questions when it comes to Abel after what you just said.
Or zero.
Zero.
I mean, what do you want? I mean, Cohen Moreno. Cohen Moreno's up to 94 with a breaking ball. Who else did we have? We had Bryce Bamer. Bryce Bamer came in to replace Romo.
From Lancaster, Pennsylvania?
Yes.
Okay.
Bryce Bamer comes out to our you every day. You surprise me. The guys it comes to our workout in Lancaster. It comes to our workout. It was Lancaster Catholic, I think.
Yes.
And he does well. He throws a couple guys out at sub-1.9s in a game. And
Travis Jankowski, Lancaster Catholic, but go ahead.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm like, who's this guy? Is there, I'm there. And so he couldn't get to Houston in the summer, and Romo showed up, and it was him or Romo. There's a third kid, 2021, but between him and Romo, this other kid, he was one of those two. So we selected Romo. Romo couldn't go, so I called Bamer. Bamer's 7 hours away. His gear was taken care of. He had his name on the back of his jersey. He was there. If that's not a 7 defender, I don't know what I'm looking at. He can flat out do it. And
where's he committed to?
He's committed to Kentucky.
Ooh.
Yeah. Matt Gassetti was in the event. Gassetti's another kid. He missed our Florida workout because in the state playoffs, him and his mom jumped on a plane and flew to Kentucky to be in that workout. Make sure we could see him. Right.
Wow.
So you have the kids here that wanted to play. You had kids that wanted to play baseball. You had kids that had a mission in mind and wanted to do. Nick Griffin, I'm so proud of that kid. Nick Griffin came out for 3 innings and went 90 to 94, sat 92, spun a breaking ball for a strike. And we saw him in Houston at our Nationals, and I'd seen him before. Third time I've seen Nick, that kid continues to get better. Markeven Hintz, 95 miles an hour like he's playing catch. It's a great weekend. It's a great weekend, and I'm so thankful that we had to the Red Sox for being a class organization. Michael Brooks, baseball gods are smiling. It's funny. It's, again, for not getting into the backstory, Michael Brooks is at the plate with a chance to win it, and it's kind of ironic that he's there in the bottom of the 9th, and he hits a ball and absolute smokes one to left field for the game winner, and the Red Sox start playing dirty water, and it was a moment that kid will never forget. So. I know it's been a long podcast tonight, but it was something that if you're paying attention to the draft, and all of us love prospects, everybody loves prospects. Watch these kids' names; it's pretty good.
Hey, not bad for a bitter ex-scout like yourself. Not bad.
I know, salty.
All right, so my battery is dying here.
How long do we go?
50 minutes,
all right.
roughly.
All right, it's my gym.
5-0. All right, everybody. For Jeremy, I'm Jason. Thanks for tuning in to Extra Bases.